It's
right
honestly,
now.
yeah,
It's happening. Because you know what? I didn't want to like throw off this conversation with a 30-second countdown. I'm here with Coach. We got DK. We got Homer. It's happening. This is a good win. I hope everybody feels good about this win because I can guarantee you there are going to be some folks out there that are a little upset about it. Our very own Texas Homer was just lamenting that we lost the fourth quarter. Yep. So how you feeling? How you feeling, Drew? I haven't seen you in a while. It's good to see you, man.
We'll see, man. I'm feeling good. Good seeing you. This is one of those games where you get, I mean, everybody gets riled up for it. I mean, the rivalry in and of itself, I see the rivalry, the brands in and of themselves. You know, I played in the last game against Michigan.
Yeah.
I had no idea at the time, honestly, that Michigan and Texas and how big of a deal that was. And we went on to win that game. But the hype and everything leading into this one, I think it didn't live up to what everybody probably wanted it to be, which is at least Texas winning, but not covering the spread, just so we all had a good game to watch. But at the end of the day, I think we've all seen this team evolve and seen them develop. And Sark does not hold back his words. When he feels he has a team that's ready to perform and ready to go dominate, ready to go be a villain, Sark speaks on it.
We were talking about this during his press conferences. He seems like legit giddy. Like he's happy at these press conferences. And I don't remember a coach in a while that like literally exuded that. Speaking of coaches, we've got one in our own witness protection agency. Why are you so silhouetted, Coach Dub? What's going on, dude? You got a light on your face?
I do, man. I'm shot at this Texas Longhorns team right now, man. Yo, I'm glowing, bro. I am glowing.
How did you feel about that?
Man, I thought from the very first snap that Sarkisian was like 2 steps ahead of old Wink over there, man.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of, I take it back to almost kind of like he neutralized Alabama's defensive line with Will Anderson. Those guys had to read and react, which slowed them down all game. They didn't know what was coming at them, man. And so I thought Sark was just ahead all game, especially first half, right? And
he was, yeah.
You know, it just Michigan couldn't catch their breath. Literally, you saw the big defense over there. You know, you can see him sweating through them. I ain't got super high def TV over here. I can still see him sweating, man. So I thought like just excellent game plan, and the kids executed. Man, like what more can you ask for? And then Quinn moving in the pocket, delivering the ball. Like that's the
Quinn, man.
People been waiting on to see like the next step, and I thought he took the next step today across the board, man. Just kudos to those guys, man. Executing the game plan to the T, and awesome win.
The Steven Schrader defense has allowed 1 touchdown this year, and it was in trash time. Whoa.
Well, and this is something that I think the public needs to know this. Homer, you were legitimately upset about that, and not for the reason that the defense let it happen.
Yeah,
you were angry that Michigan was even trying.
Yeah, yeah. There's a little bit of honor. There's a little bit of honor there. Just run it out, man. You got 2 left. I get you want to work your situational 2-minute drill, and then you want to tell the guys we didn't give up, but you did give up.
Oh my God.
And so that's the trick, and so that'll drive me nuts at the end. Anytime they do it. But yeah, my fourth quarter theory, and this is funny. I love it with coaches and players in here because they're just like, what more do you want? 31-12. Right. We dominated them in the big house, broke the home win streak for whatever. But it just always makes me laugh, man. I think I'm just traumatized from the second halves that we've had some issues with Sark the previous year. So I just want to always make sure that we're stepping on it and doing a good job.
It's different though, Homer. It's tough though. In the second half of the game, when you when you go in at halftime, and there's games where we didn't know this, right? We owned the line of scrimmage, we owned the play calling, we owned the execution. They knew going in at halftime they were in control. Even with the adjustments Michigan made, I mean, it's hard to I'm not gonna say it's hard to turn up the second half, but at the end of the day, I think both teams went in knowing, nah, man, it's not happening. I mean, that's why you can get to the fourth quarter and there's still not a score until the last couple minutes. Because both teams just kind of we know. So I mean,
but all right. So Drew, you know that going into the game, you guys are feeling yourselves after the first half. You get in, like if you had to guess, what was the message to the team after that first half?
I think at the end of the day, the message is keep doing what you're doing because the margins were still thin in the first half. Like, make no mistake. Yes, we controlled the ball. Yes, we drove down the field. Yes, we scored. Yes, we had, we missed the field goal. We had a call we had a holding call. So we consistently drove the ball, but we had to convert a ton of third downs. We had to execute in the red zone. So the margins are really still really thin. So they still had to come out in the second half and execute because they still had to make key plays to actually get there to that point again at the end of the first half. So at halftime, you keeping guys locked in. It's like, hey, we still have to do the little things because the little things were the difference in the score being what it was in the first half. So they're still dialed in. Now, you come out in the second half, the defense was still flying around, but they weren't winning on the margins on the offensive side like they did in the first half. So that's why you see more of a stalemate in that second half. But the defense was really who shined and just kept us in control, and we felt really strong no matter what.
And Sark also kind of has that NFL mentality as well. So like winning 31-12 to him, he's like, yeah, that's awesome. He doesn't, unless you're tech and upset him and then he's going to put up 60 on you. But like generally he's not like as all gas as the saying would say in those kind of like situations,
Right.
It's much more like kind of pro style.
We had to stand at halftime. You go around, what's the score? It's 0-0. It's 0-0 me at halftime. No matter what the score is, how bad we're dominating, the score is 0-0. Because and your coach, you say this all the time. The first 5 minutes of the game, the first 5 minutes coming in the half, it matters, right? And so you want to see the same intensity, same focus coming out at halftime, even if you think, I got this team, right? The first 5 minutes, I want to come out, press the gas, and have the same intensity and focus because you're going to need it later in the season. So that's just my thought with it.
What y'all think about offensive line penalties in general? I thought that was one where we actually have to look at.
Well, but it's pretty centrally located, right? It's not like the whole. I mean, it was very focused on, and I not to give Cam a hard time here, but I would be worried if the distribution of those penalties were more across the board. But having a younger guy in there, getting in the big house in that environment, I'm not happy about it, but I'm certainly not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, I am because they had the false starts, the situation or the snap infractions last game. So to me, it's kind of like an overarching thing we need to kind of watch for. But I do agree it was Cam's nervousness, but what Banks had the hold towards the end and kind of killed that drive, right? In the fourth,
Cam's locked in, man. He's locked in. The standard is the standard.
Yeah, but that's what it is. We have to look at what we can tweak, and get better at. I got to make videos next week. I can't just be like everything's good.
No, I don't know. I feel like DK and I are a little bit rainbows and sunshine at the moment. But is there something you want to talk about that you're feeling the same way there, Drew?
No. So everything has context, right? Like last week, I actually think it was Jake Maters, and it had nothing to do with the actual environment. This week, if it happens, it's one of those you would expect it. It happened in the first quarter. It happened in a crazy environment. It happened in an area where you have a young player, you have this team, it's loud. You think your communication and your preparation works, but it didn't. So you're going to go back and have those conversations and you're going to tweak it and you'll be just fine moving forward. But I wouldn't say it's an issue. Not to mess up any videos next week, Homer. You do a great job without having these issues. But at the end of the day, I do think the offensive line has put together they're solid. They're playing uniform. They're protecting what we need to protect. Mm-hmm. Quinn is moving in the pocket. They're giving him a predictable pocket to move around.
Yeah.
It's one thing if we want Quinn to use his legs, but he knows where he can go, where he can feel his way through the pocket and actually keep his eyes downfield. That is what you want to see because that is what I'm talking about when I say the margins in this game. Yeah. When you perform like that on third down, that doesn't mean you're dominating. You had several third downs against this team.
Yep.
Right. The difference was when you needed the first down. When it was a third down, you were in position to make the first down. So still, this game is still closer than it seems, but our team blew away the stat sheet, blew it away on third down when they really needed it. They got the yards they needed. They got the touchdowns they needed. And Sark called the plays he needed.
10 for 16 on third downs.
Yeah.
That's
I want to point this out because this has come up a couple times too in the chat. Is this I want to talk to our Michigan fans that are here or may ever see this. Like, I Drew, you were on the field. I was in the stands because I'm not good at football. But the Michigan fans during that Rose Bowl, they were phenomenal. This is a really great fan base. And I think the thing that I'm concerned about after this game, and we're going to see the stats play this out here in a second, is that The narrative is going to be that Michigan isn't Michigan, right? That's a very good football team. Playing against Colorado State, a very good football team. That's going to be a bowl team. And I think sometimes when you get into these dominant wins, we start downplaying the competition that we were against. And I just want to make sure that that narrative is clear, that the teams we're playing here, these are legitimately good football teams.
They're good defense.
Right.
Yeah, I'll give you that. That's fair.
They're good defense. I don't know about the offense, but the defense is,
Yeah.
Make no mistake. I mean, what do we average for us? We have 45 for that. Regardless of that, when you get into 16 third downs against a team and you're not running the ball, you're not doing it because you're dominating in the run. You're getting the third down. What do we do here? I mean, we had 8 or 9 third downs in the first half. So this is a really good defense. I know the conversation can shift as the week goes on. And of course, the people who hated to see us win will say, well, Michigan sucks. Michigan's not the same team they were last year or the last few years before.
Right.
Not the same team. They are the same defense. And that defense did enough early on to put themselves in position to make plays. And our guys made the plays, and they made them on the downs that mattered.
Yep, that's it. Money down. Money down, man. Money down.
average per completion, 10 yards per completion.
What I've been watching is I was looking at these stats, and one of the things I don't know whether this is even a valuable stat. You guys have seen my betting record, but I look at the drive success rate. We're at 79%. They were at 60%. Our touchdown rate was 40%, which honestly, I mean, during that first half, we were up. Our drive success rate was in the upper mid 90s. I mean, to me, just and this goes along with what DK was saying about, look, we're getting to those third downs, but we're converting them. We're staying on the field, and that to me is a testament of the resiliency of what we've got here.
Yeah, they especially a big departure from last season.
Yeah.
We would fizzle out towards the end in the red zone, and we're able to score. And you see that makes all the difference. So that's the ability to execute in the red zone too is what's been absolutely huge. But we went on 2 70-plus yard drives, time possession kind of whatever. But that's the difference. And it's Quinn too, man. Being able to keep those drives going on third down, stepping up in the pocket, that throw to Helm, Quinn has had some trouble facing the blitz and being mobile in the pocket. And he's starting to look, like an NFL guy now, more of a complete package there in the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, like Drew said. And that's relating on those third downs and being able to finish in the red zone. That was a big question I had about him was he struggled kind of in condensed space last year, and a lot of his interceptions were to the linebackers. So it's like he almost couldn't see the linebackers there, or they would make him nervous sometimes. And he's connecting on those. And so that was my biggest takeaway here was how the offense can actually move. And I mean, we got in a lot of third downs. I ideally don't want to be in that many third downs. I'd like to do better on first and second down to avoid that. But to show that he can do that and bail us out, that's also going to be huge. Yeah,
I think that's key. I don't want to, like you said, I don't want to be a mini third down, but the fact it's going to happen down the road where we get in trouble. But at least we got success now. It's like, hey, we can always point back to this game. Like, look, we're in a tough environment versus a tough defense and was able to convert 10 to 16. So you got some success that's on film. Like, this is what we did, but I think the time of possession towards the end kind of shifted towards Michigan, right? Because they had the ball. Yeah. Other than that, we dominated the clock, right? And so I think that helps with the red zone too, because completing those third downs, having those third down conversions, I think they were tired. When they got to the red zone, we were able to execute because we were the more team that had more, I guess, better fatigue than them. And one thing I love about it is we were able to rotate at a heavy clip, like have fresh guys, man, throughout the game. Those guys didn't. Like last year, I think they coming to mention they had 9 defensive linemen they could rotate in last year, right? Now that's huge, man. So
the gift that keeps on giving is when like we can just close our eyes and pop them open. It's just a random safety, just balling, just like rotating Derek Williams in, Michael Tapp. I mean, it's just like I don't even look to see who's in the game. Usually you look who is in this drive just in case we expect a drop off. They're just throwing guys in there.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you don't know who's going to be in at DB. You don't know who's at corner. You're looking over. Okay, we have Gavin Holmes is there now. Even the coverage of Loveland throughout the night. I mean, everyone schematically knew where he would be and how they would try to use him. It didn't really matter. We knew where he would be. You made the play. You got him on the ground, and that was that. But the depth, you're right, Coach. Being able to just have guys rotate through and stay fresh, it's impactful on the D line, but as a DB,
man,
that speaks to the competition too. Because our championship year, we had more than enough. The whole reason I moved to linebacker, because it was like, dude, you had a great offseason, but we have too many DBs for you to contribute here. You got to move to linebacker. We rotated DBs. You got to have that competition. Everybody's fighting for snaps. There's mutual respect. Man, the depth we've built. I think our defense is going to continue to be underrated. I'm looking for. I hope we get challenged next week, or just continue to keep building towards like getting these guys challenged too.
I want to ask Coach about just the idea of what it means to be a defensive coordinator when your third downs, the offense is just rolling over you. But before we do that, I want to hear from one of our sponsors.
I'm just going to say, guys, you probably need a fiduciary financial advisor. And I've got the guy for you. His name is David McClellan with Forum Financial. He works broadly and deeply with his clients as a financial life coach. And he should know something about coaching because he won several national championships as a swimmer for the University of Texas. He specializes in financial planning and has contributed numerous articles to Kiplinger on the topic of retirement tax bombs. So contact David today to be your fiduciary financial planner and schedule a 1-hour consultation to assess your financial situations. The free consultation is available, so just give him a call. The number is 312-933-8823. That's 312-933-8823. His email is also in the description below.
So we had obviously the third down conversions. This is what DK was alluding to earlier. So Coach, you're on the sideline. What is going through Martindale's head when he's sending out his packages, and every third down, it seemed like in that certainly those first few drives, Texas was converting? I mean, what does that do to the mentality of the coach? Does that start changing strategy in any way? Because I felt like Sark was in Martindale's head the entire game.
Yeah, I mean, you work so hard on first and second down to create a third and long situation, and then they convert it. It's frustrating when it happens over and over. Like, you're more than frustrated. Like, you're disappointed. You start to lose confidence. Your players start to lose confidence. Are we even calling the right plays? Like, you get a lot of self-doubt in there. You're supposed to stay, have a steady head and like, hey, we're going to stop next time. But it wears on you, man, because it's so frustrating. And then fatigue sets in. When fatigue sets in, then mental mistakes start to happen. Then physical mistakes start to happen. I think you saw that, but it's just so frustrating on the sideline, from the press box to the sideline. Everybody's frustrated because you just want to get off the field to give yourself a chance. You just want to catch your breath.
Right.
You don't get a chance to do that. And I think as a DC, he got frustrated. He didn't know what to call. Okay, what do I call to get off the field? Because nothing is working. You start to feel like nothing is working. Maybe I'll just call something basic. All right, we're going to play 2-man under. And I can't do anything else, right? I'm just going to switch it and play this. And because you run out of calls, right? Unless you really just believe in yourself and stubborn, I'm going to keep going. Yeah, you lose confidence, and you just thought, you forget the play sheet. All right, 2-man under, So I think that's what we saw, and that's the feeling that I know they had on the sideline.
Mike thanks for the super chat, Mike. If you want your question answered by this illustrious staff, please go ahead and throw in a super chat. But this was, I mean, Gunnar Helm was the talk of the chat group, right? Like, he had himself a game today. Like, DK, there's no way he's a secret weapon at this point.
I mean, I think it was a live or two ago, our Wednesday night live. We got a question saying, who is going to be the player that is going to increase their draft stock? I said Gunnar Helm, and between messages on Twitter, people who had comments, and then the look I got from Eric on the live was like, okay, I wasn't going to go there. It's like, dude, listen, when have we not seen Gunnar Helm? Gunnar Helm reminded me of Jonathan Brooks last year. I mean, the year prior to when he was the main guy. Jonathan, every time he played, every time he touched the ball, he showed he had everything to contribute. He had the skills. He had the talent. He wasn't getting the reps. Gunnar Helm, yes, Jatavian Sanders came in. He was the guy. He's come and gone, and Gunnar Helm's still there. Gunnar Helm is solid blocker, solid enough. He's a great weapon, sure hands. You have not questioned him. He just sneaks up on you. He had a great game. Gunnar Helm, draft stock, a guy who's not on anybody's radar, a guy who is going to be consistent enough this year when Quinn is going to continue to put up numbers and continue to lean on him. I mean, it wasn't a secret to me.
Yeah.
Did they throw at Will Johnson once?
Ooh.
I didn't see.
I don't think they threw at him once because Helm is like they definitely threw at Hill number 20 every chance they got. I mean, that was clearly a game plan thing, but Helm making sense. They like that safety matchup too. And so Helm was kind of the perfect number 3 option for Sark. And they just exploited that all day. They clearly liked that matchup with the safeties. But I was just thinking, I was like, yeah, if you get X, like Will Johnson X's out your quote unquote number 1, and then you get Borda throwing at 20, which Sark apparently did, then you have Helm there. And if you watch him at Cherry Creek, man, he was catching posts. I mean, he was going downfield at Cherry Creek. And he kind of got this reputation here as a blocker, but he's always been a receiving tight end that can do better. I'm glad that we're able to see that with Jatavian now in the NFL. So that was interesting, but I will go back and see. I mean, it seems like we paid the utmost respect to Will Johnson this game because I don't think he got thrown out once.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so either. Not even screening his way.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
I did see him on Gunnar
See our
second quarter.
how did our defense do on the rush? Because this is something that's been a talking point really all off season, and I don't know when we're really going to be challenged on it. But it's like, how do we replace our defensive line? How do we replace Devondre Sweat? How do we replace just the talent we've had there? And as I was watching the game, I kept thinking, you know what, we're giving up 3 yards this year on plays that would have been no gain last year. That was about what I felt when I was watching. I was like, you know what, that probably would have been no gain last year. But okay, they got 2.5, 3, maybe 4 yards this year. I can live with that. What did y'all think?
I agree. I agree. We gave up 80 for 3.5. And this is thing I'd be interested to hear about from a coach and player's perspective. Okay, so last year we shut people down. You could not run on us. So you had to pass, right? Well, we had a secondary that struggled against that. So we almost incentivized people to exploit our weakness. Now, think about it this way. We give up that 3 yards, which would have been a 0, right? Now the team's a little more confident. They could do a shorter pass there. They could do a shorter run there. It's almost like we're giving up a little bit, but it's actually beneficial to us because we don't tell them, hey, we need to go into our deep passing concepts where we are vulnerable. So it's like, hey, man, if we give up 3 here, 3 here, I'm almost okay. It's kind of like baiting them. But I don't know from the player-coach perspective how y'all feel about that.
You know what, though? It set us up on the interception. They were getting 3 yards here. And then we played the sticks on 3rd down and got an interception, right? Because we knew what was coming. So it's almost like give and take, playing a little chess here and there. And so, yeah, you get the 3 yards and you think, okay, I can throw short here, but I'm playing the sticks. And like I said, we got the interception. So I think it's, like you said, it's a little bit of give and take. I can live with 3 yards, right? You're not getting it consistently.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing. You're not getting it consistently, but I can live with it because at the end of the day, we were creating enough negative plays to where, and it kind of negated the 3 yards. And I think they put them in 3rd long situations where we knew they couldn't convert those. So I think you can live with those. Like you said, Drew, I'm okay with that because they're not getting it consistently either.
One of the things too is I'm just curious, and because Drew, you're bringing this up, and like in situations last year, I mean, does the transitive property exist in sports? I mean, can we say that like this isn't equal to this? Because again, you know, if you were looking at it just by a statistical point of view, like CSU way better rushing against Texas than Michigan, and that's not a stat that you would normally look at. I mean, I feel like making it a 1-to-1, and I appreciate what you're saying. You're not totally putting it in that box, but can this be its own thing? Can this be its own entity?
I think what Sark has continued to build on both sides of the ball is an offense that can do things and score in different ways and can exploit you in different ways, and now a defense that can exploit you in different ways. The main difference I'm seeing so far between last year's defense and this year's defense is every team we played against knew they would struggle running the ball against us. And so they went into the game just, we have to throw it.
Right.
Now, you have to decide, do I want 3 to 4 yards, or do I want to test the secondary that is much improved and that they want to take advantage of these opportunities? So when you look at Colorado State last week, we knew they were going to want to throw the ball. So the fact that they've run the ball well, that's not what they wanted to do. They're not comfortable leading with that. And so if a team beats you doing something they're not comfortable with, so be it. But I think what Sark has done is we're trying to get, he's gotten us to a place where we're not uncomfortable winning in any one way or the other. Meanwhile, we've also made sure we've shored up our defensive backfield so that we're not exposed and so that we're not so top heavy. So while we've given up a few more yards on the rush this year and that dominance, I think is a perfect marriage, because now people are going to think, we can get yards on Texas running. They don't have the same run game, but they know they can't lean on it. They know they still have to throw the ball to the air. They can't just lean on one weakness or the other. So while it may seem like it keeps us guessing, it's exactly what we want people to do. We want to know what the down and distance is, and we have the skill set, we have the players, we have the scheme to be able to address it. Last year, we really didn't put people in position to pick their poison. This year, I really think we're built to do that right now.
So I want to go to the super chats, if that's okay, guys, because we want to thank the people that are helping to support our fund to buy Coach a light. Let's go with Mike Moran first. He's asking, can we get Wingo more touches? And this is, if I may say so, Mike, and again, thank you so much for the super chat. This is the most Texas fan question that I think we've had thus far. Like, we did a good job. Like, I think we did a really good job during this game. It's distributing the ball, but specifically Wingo. Coach, I'm going to put this to you. What do we need to do to get the hands in Wingo, the ball in Wingo's hands?
When he got the reverse, man, he had been in a few plays prior to that, right? But so much talent in the room. And I think in this situation, maybe Sark wanted to go with the older guys on the road, right? So it wasn't about not getting Wingo touches. I think it was more like, let me play my more experienced guys in a hostile environment. Once you kind of had the game in hand, let me see what he can do. And then he kind of showed you, right? And I think going forward, these next 2 weeks, UTSA and Louisiana Monroe, I think he'll get more touches. But you got so many receivers. Everybody wants to touch the ball, right? You know what I mean? Today was Matthew Golden in the red zone again. But Bun had a catch to start the game off with. Cook got his. We took a deep shot to Bolden. So I think you just got so many weapons that you're probably not thinking at the time, let me make sure I get Wingo a touch, right? You go with the package that you felt most comfortable with during the week in practice, and that's what you want to execute. And then as you go, you don't get caught up. Let me sub you in. Let me get you in. Let me get you in. You're not so conscious sometimes because you're so dialed in as a coach that let me make sure I get everybody in. Like first game, I think it was a little more relaxed. You went into that game plan, I'm playing everybody, so everybody had to pick up. But this game, you're going to stick with your stars for the most part.
I mean, he was our leading rusher here, guys. So he did good work. 55 yards.
I think it's really important that we look at the fact that our boy Blue had 37 receiving yards. And you guys may know from the pregame that I had a prop bet on 40 yards. So my boy got close. With those 3
LC bought the bet so late to where it didn't make any sense to do it. What did you get at, like 22 or something?
Dude. I know. It was a bad bet. I'm going to own that. But yeah, I have to say, though, guys, the fact that he got that close really kept me engaged. I was into it. I was really, really into it.
You're a typical gambler. It was the excitement that he got close.
For engagement.
Guys, he got close. That's all that matters. It got close.
Yeah. We don't pay for engagement.
All right. Well, I think our boy from the Lando Show, thank you so much for chipping in here. And yeah, we don't risk our reputation for fun. We do it for the thrills. That's the only reason we do it. Got to keep everybody honest. All right. So this is the type of chat that's been around, right? Again, this goes back to what we were saying earlier in the show. There's going to be this chat that, from I think the lay person that Michigan isn't a good team. And as we alluded to, they're a very good team. They may not be as balanced as they were last year. They may not have the same skill they had on offense last year, but in no way are they a pushover team. And I think sometimes when Texas is on or a team is on and they dominate that strongly, that it can give that impression. But
let me throw that back up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Timothy, I agree with you. I was one of the people that thought they were calling vanilla on offense last week. No, they're just kind of uninspired. I mean, the stuff with Orgy, I was like, they definitely have an Orgy package. They're not just going to zone read him again. They absolutely did. I expected more for them. I thought there was going to be more layers to their offense. I thought that there was going to be more depth. At least Orgy would get the chance to kind of pull up and throw the ball or something. But I just think they are that uninspired right now, or that limited by the lack of skill talent that they really can't do stuff that create. I mean, the most creative play was a flea flicker early on. I mean, it was really uninspired play calling. But also I think on offense, they're definitely coaching with their hands tied behind their back, because really you just got Loveland, and even he was kind of off today. So I was one of those people last week, Timothy.
What would you like to see, Homer, in an Orgy package?
I know that's Ian was talking about it too. I said I was working on the
good job, Drew.
portion of my video
Together, Drew.
And Ian was like, "Huh?" But you got to see something. He's got to pull it. Like they didn't even commit to him enough to where it would even make sense. They were still doing that thing where they bring him on one at a time and run him out. But at least stay him on for, I don't know if he can sustain a drive, but at that point you kind of pull up and I'm trying to get a couple more in here that are sponsor friendly.
Well, I got to tell you, like, to sustain anything in an Orgy package, I think is hard for most folks. You really just have to commit yourself to what you know.
Yeah.
And Drew, you probably can speak to this. Having VY the first 2 years, how Greg Davis kind of used him, right? There's a bunch of read outs, some rollout passes to the tight ends and stuff like that. Maybe they can do some of that kind of simplified, man, because that's really, I think that's their only shot, honestly.
The problem with Orgy is that he always pulls out. At least VY would hand the ball. He would hand the ball off to St. B.
Yeah, that's true. That is true, man.
But every time, man.
I'm trying to help him out. I don't know. I'm trying to help him some kind of way.
And dude, our DNs, they didn't crash once. Like the DNs clearly got told, like, you're staying home, because they didn't even think about
one job. Stay home.
Yeah, that's the part that was frustrating, because I was like, surely they're gonna have some layer to the orgy package, and they did not.
It's difficult. It's difficult. Sometimes you just enter one of those things and you have no idea where you are, which way's up or which way's down. So I understand it. There's a lot of confusion, but we got there in the end. We found our end game, so that's good. It's good. Okay, well, that was a fun chat. Thank you. Is there anything else you guys want to move on to? You guys want to move away from orgies?
I mean, we can go back to it if we need to. But
you never want to stay away.
Yeah. I don't know. Let me try to see kind of. You want to do kind of a game ball situation? Who do you think was our best kind of defender or best on offense? You got to go with Quinn, right? But
I mean, do you? I mean, Quinn was great, but let's talk about our boy Gunnar Helm. I mean, I think he did a good job. My boy Blue, you can go 3 yards away from getting his 40. Got a tutty today, and he played a little bit hobbled. I think that's pretty good for Blue. And
he was definitely less explosive. Something was hurting him. But in the second half, seemed like whatever the trainers do, they did a good job there, because he came out in the second half and looked like he was doing just fine.
Yeah.
When that Toradol hits, it's a whole different game.
That Toradol hits.
You can't even feel your leg in the second half.
We have 3 games at home over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
He'll have a chance to freshen up and get it going. So, man. One thing that really stands out to me though is, and I thought about this before the game, because there's 2 different elements here. Going into Bama last year, even 2 years ago when we played against Bama in Austin, we were expected to show up. It was almost like, at the worst case scenario, we'd have a moral victory. And then even after beating Bama last year, everyone kind of rewrote the narrative on Bama sucks, and then Bama's, they go to college football playoff.
Yep.
This year, when was the last time we've been on the road as a favorite?
I know.
Yeah.
Against a ranked team. So
yeah.
Agreed.
This was already a different stage and a different element. And you can say whatever you want about Michigan and rewrite the narrative, but we handled the pressure. We handled we showed up as Texas and played as Texas. We didn't play down. We didn't play up. We came in and we just played as Texas. And when you can cover the spread and multiple standard deviations away from that whole, place, that is where you see the greatness. That's where you see, are we doing something different than we've done in a while? Last year, yes, we beat Bama on the road. Quinn got injured. The story is a little bit different. This year, we actually, this was different. I'm not going to skate past the fact that we were a 7.5-point road favorite against a blue blood in Michigan who just came off a national championship. They have a great defense.
Yep.
So I can't ignore that part for sure.
Right.
It was absolutely dominant. I think everything was. I mean, look, this is the type of thing that Texas fans, I think, are justifiably should be very, very happy with. There's going to be that group of folks that are a little bit, why didn't this happen or why didn't that happen? But overall, this was a great win. I'm gonna hand the bus over to Homer. He's gonna drive you guys home. But thank you so much. It's been really fun hanging out with you guys.
Later, LC. We'll take it on over. All right, guys. So this is going to be a fun question. I'm going to have to – you said it was a little bit different. We're going now – we're favorites versus upper crust teams, right? We're getting back to – and I have to be very careful with my phrasing, but to when we were really solid. Where do you – just seeing two games, Coach, with your eye on being a coach and you know what a good team looks like, Drew, with your experience being on our best teams, where do you think we're at?
I go first. I think we're in a good spot of a team that has a making to be really good. I think we wrote about it all off season. The quality of depth we have is actually showing and coming to fruition, so to speak. Somebody can go out, we don't miss a beat. That's a good definition. That's the true definition of a good team, a great team, honestly, right? Because no matter who to put in, you don't miss a beat, and you don't get the same level of performance. I feel good about it. It doesn't matter who we play and what they do. It's about our level of execution. I think we're executing at a high level in a lot of ways. And so, to me, first game, you never know what's going to happen, right? You never know if your team's going to come out flat. We came out on fire. We executed well. On the road, we handled the pressure. We executed well. We took care of business like a good team does. And so, I think we're in a good spot. Sky's the ceiling, man. It's only a few things that you maybe nitpick at, right? Mm-hmm. And a dominant win, what else can you ask for? I think that's a team that continue to grow and get even better and can be really dangerous late in the season, going into the playoffs.
Drew, what you thinking, man?
I mean, first it starts with Quinn. People talk about the one thing that's easy to do when we're watching film is we look at film from last year and we see something and we say, okay, this is the way to attack Quinn Ewers. They blitzed Quinn Ewers. Mm-hmm. They blitzed him. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. That's the difference is how many guys are taking steps. How many guys were liabilities at one point in certain way or form or fashion, and they're not. Whether it be the defensive tackles and Vernon Broughton, in the middle of that defense, and just seeing him on the plays where I'm really dialed in, okay, you're holding into your own. You're doing what we expect a grown, married, 23, 25-year-old man to do. You're doing it, dog. Good stuff. Vernon Broughton brought it. You know what I mean? So it's those things that I see as different. It's just seeing the incremental differences in what it takes to win. Quinn moving around the pocket. Mm-hmm. Quinn throwing the ball dead because he sees the play is dead. Whether it's a screen, whether it's in the end zone, he's taking the 3 points. Quinn running when he needed to just get the first down. Quinn has taken steps. He's taken the steps. Everything that you thought you could attack him with, let's not even say everything. The primary thing that you thought you could attack him with, a blitzing defense, great talented defense, coverage on the backside, a strong defensive line. Quinn navigated all of that today. That's a huge step. Guys are developing, players are getting better, and they're still connected. So that's the main thing that I see here. These games are still won on the margins. There are several people who thought, well, in the Big 12, we had close games we shouldn't have had. Everyone's been talking about U of H last year. And you can talk about games where we were closer than we should have been.
Mhm.
When players are developing, when you have a third-year quarterback starting. Hell, Arch is going to be a third-year quarterback next year.
Yeah.
Just from experience and just being at the program and seeing the film. So there is a method to the madness here. And that's the fun part. We can win this year or not, but there's a plan. We won't look like Michigan next year. And that's all. I mean, that's what we're building right now. That's what we're looking to build. Do we want to look like Michigan did today after an offseason? No, we want to make sure we're showing up and guys are ready to plug and play.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. Someone on Twitter said, Michigan's thing was like, well, we lost 13 guys. Well, Texas lost 11 guys, and so now, but quarterback does make a difference. I don't want to falsely equate that, but Texas also lost a lot of guys, and that's where you're kind of getting into that reload style.
Or if you want to give me a huggy first before you go.
Yeah. You lose your quarterback, but you also lose your staff. So
all right, go.
It's cute. All right, before we're gonna hit a little sponsor, but then we're gonna take that very reasonable analysis from these two, and we're gonna immediately jump the gun and ask if we are better than Georgia. But that will be coming up next.
One of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make in your life is the purchase of a home or the refinance of an existing home. And you need the right person on your team. That person is Gabe Winslow. He is a lifetime Longhorn, a huge supporter of Inside Texas and Longhorn Nation. And you can reach him at 832-557-1095. Why Gabe? Over 20 years in the industry. He has a law degree. He's fantastic at what he does. And he loves creating solutions for his clients. Give him a call. If he's not your first call, make darn sure he's your last call. And you'll find out why so many Longhorns have raved about the service that he provides.
Thank you, Gabe. All right. So can we jump UGA? So we can answer that, but also just kind of resume wise, who has the best resume now? Is it Georgia followed by Texas? I mean, that kind of, they did good against Clemson. We did good against Michigan, kind of that upper crust team. Like who, if we did not preseason rank at all, right. And we didn't do any of that, who are your top three in that situation? I think you could have Georgia and then a Texas, but what do y'all think? I know y'all don't find these questions as fun as your average fan, but let's indulge them.
You got it right, Homer. Because I'm sitting here like, Coach probably feel the same way I do. Like, A, does it matter at this point? And B, do we know it?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we get to play Georgia. So jumping Georgia is not a conversation we even need to have.
Exactly.
Compared to previous years. Previous years, you have to wonder just even the perception of your team and the win would look different. I personally think it does. We played on the road against a top 10 team. It wasn't a neutral site game, and we dominated. So it is what it is. But the fun thing about this season is we actually get to play Georgia. So we don't have to ask this question. Whatever the rankings are, we get to settle it on the field, and we'll be at home to do it. So.
Yeah. Plus, we're going to have an entire Georgia week where we ask that question upwards of 100 times and make 3 different videos about it. But that, I don't know how we play that game, especially we're going to play them. I do think it's interesting though, if we're talking resumes just so far, I mean, it's got to be Texas and Georgia. Like I said, if we don't rank anybody preseason and we just look at it, those two have the 2 best wins, and we'll find out in a few weeks right here. And then we got some more confidence from Matt. Who the hell is going to beat Texas? That O-line is sick. They made Michigan D-line look average. So I am interested that we didn't see much from Graham and Grant there. I mean, those are awesome interior guys. So I was just really impressed with our game planning ability. And Sark's done that last year versus Bama with their D-line. The previous Bama 2 years ago with their D-line. Sark's ability to kind of scheme around these impressive defensive lines, these impressive interiors when they had Will and Dallas Turner on the same team. That level of coaching and that structure is also what's been super impressive. Drew, what is that like when you're on defense and your biggest weapons are getting schematically kind of taken out of it? They're throwing so quick, you guys don't even have a chance to pass rush, or they're running outside on you guys so you can't stuff them. How frustrating is that as a player where you're like, they're neutralizing exactly how we're going to beat them?
this is why there's value in having just a balanced team. Unfortunately for me, I was never on a team that was heavily weighted in one area or the other. But I was on a team that did beat Sark, and it does frustrate me because I felt like we couldn't get a pass rush against USC. I felt like we were helpless in a lot of ways. It really came down to who had the ball last and who could come down to the margins of the game, third downs, red zone. We sucked in the red zone in years just based on what we've all said.
Right.
We actually performed in the red zone today. We actually performed in the red zone against a good defense today. We weren't great on third downs in the past in certain situations. We were great today. I don't want to overrate or underrate how important it was to win on the margins. The margins, what are the key things that lead to victory? Third down was elite today. We played a good defense that planned to bully, planned to slow it down. So that's really the difference. I've been in a situation where you feel helpless, and it's not even so much about the D line as much as it is a scheme gives you way too many options and leaves you in conflict. That's what Sark does. Right. He leaves everyone in conflict. He makes you feel helpless, and then all of a sudden, the play it's supposed to be your play on defense, you weren't getting up the field fast enough. You weren't hustling to your position enough because he's just lulled you to sleep. You felt helpless. And so you just see a lot of that. Sark's always going to find the matchups and work his way around what the advantages are. And, the things you think are an advantage, like you can't even say Sark picked on any particular thing today that helped us win.
Yeah.
It was just we executed the game plan and the plays when we needed to.
Right. I totally agree with that. I think that's huge. And like you said, Homer, we just neutralized them with scheme, man. I saw a blocking scheme where one guy, we're blocking them pretty much on the zone blocking close to their waist, right? We're kind of taking their big, powerful legs away. Like they were trying to block them up high and fight with them. They were getting down low, getting into the legs, into the stomach area, and kind of neutralizing that way. I thought that was because now it forces those guys to kind of, hey, get off me, or make a play versus where they can just kind of use their strength and kind of bully you up front. So I thought the blocking scheme was good. But those guys had to do so much reading and react. They didn't know if the jet sweep was coming, what they were going to do in the motion. We saw Graham out there at a 5-7 tech at one time, and they were just trying to find things to do. He kind of got them out of their comfort zone and what they love to do, and it's like, okay, they really just don't have a clue. And Sark really has a wing. He's a step ahead. And so,
You saw the frustration too, right? Whenever they did the little scuffle after they hit Quinn.
Yeah.
You can just tell those guys were getting frustrated because those guys are used to being able to eat in boost draft stock, and that's got to be frustrating to just be running into air all game. So that was kind of the fascinating thing. Anything on defense? We did break out the dime again. We got some third and longs. I thought we were going to be totally based versus kind of the PR of Michigan that they're tough running 13 personnel team. But we what do you think about the dime, Drew? That you got to see most in Colorado State.
I just love that we're rolling out different packages. I mean, I'm not saying that this package would have made the difference against Washington. That the personnel obviously plays into that, but similar to offensive side of the ball, we have to be able to win in different ways on defense. We have to have different packages. We can't be predictable. We have to have guys who are confident in playing in those packages. And I do think the combination of the competition that we create in our program, combined with the amount of information we're forcing guys to consume, it allows guys to just rise to the top and guys to really this is the standard. You have to be able to play in these multiple packages. You have to be able to execute no matter what. And that way teams can't just find your weakness and attack you. So the dime package is going to be a difference maker this year for a team that already, because it wasn't just a talent issue, it was a schematic issue. So we've addressed both in this season. So I do think there's going to be a difference there. The difference, though, with the way teams attack us is, are they going to be as confident to do the things that we're allowing them to do when we are in dime? We had a 3rd and 4. I think everyone in the stadium and everyone at home thought Sark was going to throw the ball. He hands it off. We converted 3rd and 4 with a 7-yard gain. I think that was in the second quarter. And it was like the drive keeps going. The timeliness of when you choose to run against us is going to be critical. The timeliness of when you choose to pass against our defense is going to be critical. Our packages are going to continue to be a chess match. And I just appreciate that we can be versatile on defense right now, because it really is going to open up a lot of opportunities for us, no matter who the opponent is.
Yeah, Coach, what are your offensive side of the ball? What do you think about when you see our dime? Throw it to the tight end. I know you want to get big. Like, what do you want to do? You know.
I think that we're versatile. I think see dime, man. I'm running the ball if I see dime, right?
Yeah.
A lot of little dudes out there, man. A lot of little dudes. I'm trying to run at. Nah, I ain't running at you, Drew. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if it's dime package, I'm thinking run the ball or I can spread you out and just use a short passing game versus that, right? Because I don't think your pass rush.
How do y'all think we did against Loveland, man? That's too as
followed him up for the most part. I thought we were physical with him. We didn't let him off the line free. They tried to move him around so they can kind of give him free releases.
Yeah.
When he caught the ball, they were smacking him too. I think he got in his head a little bit. You saw him catch a little Texas route he ran, but he fumbled. That probably would have been a first down too. They had it kind of set up for him, but I think we kind of took him out of the game, man, mentally.
Have you ever been, Coach? You've seen this. You've been in games before where your best player, it's the one player on your squad where you're like, no matter how we look this week, we got one guy who he's going to shine. He's going to eat. It doesn't matter who else does anything. He's going to eat. Loveland has to be that guy.
Yeah.
Like, he is the guy who, if you ask me, one player, it's like, hey, you know what, Michigan, let's treat it like fantasy football. You're not going to win it all this year. Like, can we swap a couple guys? Like Loveland, it's like, what do we got to do to get that guy? Because I do think on our team, he can make a huge difference. He's that talented, and we did a great job. And he gave us the ball too. That turnover sword, thanks to Loveland, we got one of those footballs on it. So, but hey, when you have one guy to isolate on, their wide receivers did not stretch us, did not challenge us, did not. Tough game for Loveland. So hopefully, for a player like that, who's probably going to be the first tight end off the board, when he comes out, when you can do what we did against him, you can't help but be happy about that. But they didn't do him any favors. The wide receivers and the quarterbacks did not do him any favors. They have to be able to open up the game for a player like that. He's really talented.
Yeah, that's why. We were talking about him all week, and so there's a part of me that I was like, Loveland, I at least wanted you to make a few big catches, so you make us look like, but we shut him down pretty effectively, and that's what was impressive. And I mean, what do you do though? I mean, that's it. That was their only receiving target they had. Like I said, I think Bell would be good for him in the future, but I mean, they just have no speed. They were telling me that their speed guy was a 10.8, Tyler Morris. I was like, if your speed guy's a 10.8. That's going to be tricky. So, and Samaj Morgan, I think, was like an 11.8. So they just didn't have the horses there. And the fans had told me,
oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, the fans had told me all week that Michigan doesn't need receivers and quarterbacks. Yeah, you do. It's important. It's important to have that. And the one time they got over the hump was because they had a first-round quarterback. Ooh, look at that, Coach.
Yeah. That's
official?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure before I.
Yeah, that's official.
Okay, we're good to discuss that on live, huh?
Yeah, that is official.
Okay, cool. We got a flip from the defensive tackle Myron Charles, the Florida State commit. That is very cool. Coach, let us know what you think about Myron.
Man, versatile, big defensive lineman that's much needed. That's what winning does, right? I think he sees the multitude of guys.
Yeah,
they're coming in there playing, and Texas is winning. I know he sees it, like everybody else. Texas is they're not even on the rise anymore. Like they're almost where we think they should be. Or we said they should be. Versus he sees what Florida State is, and it's like, do I really want to go there, right? And so. I think he was already on the verge of coming to Texas. I think the Texas staff did a great job with him. Coach Kenny Baker and staff did a great job with him, where he thought about it, right? He had buyer's remorse a little bit and had second guessed himself, and he chose Florida State. But I think everything we were telling him, all the staff was telling him on the recruit visit, what we're going to do, how we could use him. I think he actually can see it on film and see Texas dominating out front. 2 games in a row now where he sees Florida State, who everybody said had the best defensive line and all that, kind of getting ran on every single week and losing. So I think that, proof is in the pudding, and Texas was able to get him flipped, man. I love it. But this is a great kid who can play, man. This kid can play. He's versatile. He's physical. He's quick off the line.
He is.
Got long arms and uses them very well. But yeah, you see him kind of split double team there. Look at him. Yeah. Heads up play that, to catch that for a touchdown. But I love this kid. I think he can play 3, 5, and 7 technique. Just depends on how his body grows and what he becomes at the next level.
Yeah, absolutely.
People stance rush. So yeah.
Well, we're in a different world, man. Like as long as we have the portal and everything else, we can always backfill in with talent. But as seasons unfold, and this goes for Texas too, an early commitment is only as good as your damn season, because people are going to continue to work until the end of the period. As their desperation goes up, the NIL packages may be shifted a bit. The actual depth charts may shift a bit. I mean, if you're Myron Charles, regardless, or you're any DT right now, like Texas is rolling. Texas looked really good today.
Yeah,
they're going to graduate or have 4 or 5 of these guys leave. Maybe not 5. Shit, damn, maybe 5. So the point is, what are you doing? Like, what decision are you making? Do you want to be a part of something special or not? And Sark has done a great job of. It's almost like they look at, okay, who's on the hot seat? Let's see. Okay, I bet. All right, we got this guy. We can backfill with that guy. Lose a couple games, we're gonna stay tied in and locked in. And I mean, when you can do this after game 2 of the season, it's good, because I can guarantee you, if we would have lost today, we would not be getting that commitment.
Yeah. Florida State's absolutely helping us out. They're on the opposite trajectory as us. Shout out them. Coach, anything with Hilson there, the end committed there, edge committed there? I know he visited months ago, but is there any chance there of a flip or anything? I have no idea.
I think we're recruiting. You got to keep swinging, and I think that there is some doubt, because I'm sure he sees it too, right? Like, man, Florida State may not be the place for me to go get developed, and I can go to Texas and get developed. And I think he may ride the wave and come with Charles. You never know. I know Texas has not stopped recruiting him, and it's not over till signing day in December or February. So I think you can continue to work on him. As long as Florida State continues to give us the white glove experience and hand him off to us, man, I think that we got a shot at him, honestly.
Yeah, Sark don't get nervous. Whenever we lose out, the fans get very nervous, but the coaches are willing to kind of wait on the flip. And then also, too, kind of circling back to edge, what did you guys think of Colin Simmons today?
Man, Colin, show what he can be. Use that speed to get around the edge, man. Got some pressure, and he got a sack. He almost had 2. I mean, so then to see him work the left and right tackle, or the right tackle to get around the edge, man, it's what we all said he could do, right? He could rush the passer. I thought he had a getting off the ball better than most, honestly. I thought I would see that from maybe Trey Moore, but saw from the freshman, man. But sky's the limit for him.
I mean, this is a good O-line. But I can't wait till we get getting games later in the season and get predictable passing downs and just continue to let Colin and these guys tee off. Because even after you would have thought Michigan would have started throwing, they kept running the ball. Yeah, that's just not who they are. And even when they did throw it, they kind of knew where they were going with it, so they got it off before our defensive ends could really get something rolling. So Colin Simmons, there's a couple times Trey Moore, I saw him trailing from behind, getting around the edge. So
he had that bull rush, that third down bull rush. And I was like, I'm used to his spin moves, but I was like, he'll run straight through their chest.
Yeah, man. We got to get guys in 3rd and longs earlier. But I think what's happening is we're only rushing 4. So we're not even trying to confuse up front and let one of these guys get – it may be a true one-on-one, but if a tackle knows it's 3rd and long, they know you're not doing an inside move. They know you have to be contained, so they know you're coming outside. So to expect Colin Simmons, Trey Moore, and these guys on predictable 3rd and longs to win rushing 4, having these one-on-ones to just beat every time, it's really tough, because the offensive tackle knows it's coming too. However, when you layer in that defense behind it, when you layer in the DBs behind it, the coverage behind it, That's where that's when you get into that complementary defense to where the DBs are in great coverage. The DNs are still getting that pass rush. And we're going to see more sacks, more pressures, more of that as the season goes on, because the defense behind the D-line was really good today.
Awesome. And also, guys, do not forget, we are running a flash sale right now on InsideText.com. 50% off if you use code HOOK'em on annual memberships. It'll average out to be $4.99 a month if billed annually. And that ends tomorrow evening, I believe. So get it while you can. You can get the best recruiting news, the best opponent analysis. Of course, always Eric's and Justin's really good team news about. We had a good video yesterday kind of talking about, one of the questions was, does Quinn look like he's better? And the source said yes. And we were able to see that today. So that's always super cool stuff. I'm good, guys. You have any last things that you must talk to the fans about? Or are you guys ready to head on out?
I'm good, man. Great team wins. 24-hour rule, right, Drew? Let's get on to the next one.
My only thing is this, Coach, because as a journey from a coaching perspective, you take this game, 24-hour rule, you move forward.
Yeah.
But as a fan and as a player and as a person who has followed this team, like Texas football is the only team in any sport that I will watch all 4 quarters every minute the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss Rockets game. I'm going to miss Astros games. That's it. Like, I'm going to watch everything for this team. So when I take a step back and I'm like, where are we today? Not even today's game.
Yeah.
Where have we come from? Like, starting with Sark's story. Sark has everything he talks about, everything he's built, everything he brings to the week, to this team, to the program. We got to be proud of that, man. Sark is the creator of everything we are working with right now. His philosophy on both sides of the ball, his persistence with just making sure we're going to be versatile. We're going to make sure that nobody can just show up to a game and take advantage of us. Sark is the owner of that. So we got to appreciate that. So let's give Sark his flowers on that. Quinn's development, Quinn's ability to move around the pocket, Quinn's eyes down the field, Quinn's leadership, Quinn assimilating and getting close to these receivers with the offseason. Take that in. Like Sark always tells us, this is a great atmosphere. We're going into this game and everything else. Like, take a deep breath, like take a pause and realize where you are. Everybody take a pause, realize where you are, realize what we've gone through to get here. Know it's real. This is not fluff right now. Like, we really have a really good coach, a really solid team, great culture, something I'm proud to be a part of, proud to talk to you guys about. It's a really cool time to be a Texas fan and be involved in this. So don't run out and be all cocky about it. We still got work to do. We really do. But it's not even just about today. It's not even just about yesterday. It's about the progress we've made. Today was a real strong statement about the progress we've made just as a program. So I'm excited for Sark, excited for Quinn and things he's done to lead this team. And this defense looked great. So, yeah, we just got to keep working. We're going to move on in 24 hours, but we got to take it all in right now, Coach.
Yeah. You coaches can never have any fun. You guys are just right back onto it.
We're an hour after the game, and coach is like, "Hey, 24 hours." It's like, Coach, 1 hour. What?
Yeah, we just beat Michigan in the big house, and it's like, who cares? Next UTSA.
Get back to the facility. You're in Exos, and all the data and the plays and breaking down the film. Like, man, you can't even enjoy this thing, yo.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I thought, Drew, literally year 1, we go into Arkansas and they beat us up. Year 4, we walk into the national reigning champions field and beat them up. So, if we look at the 4 years of Sark, it's a crazy difference. And, yeah, we do need to smell the roses a little bit. Not coach, though. He's on to UTSA. And then tomorrow I will be, too, because I got to start working on my breakdown. They're actually playing Texas State right now. That's what I'm about to go watch and scout ahead to next week. But, Coach, Drew, thank you so much. LC, thanks for being on earlier. I think he's watching on Twitter. Fans, thank you guys for watching. And we will be on tomorrow at 2, I believe, and we'll kind of do the day after the dust has settled, after everyone's done their rewatch. And so that should be pretty interesting, too. But, everyone, thank you so much for watching.